back to the 7th row, Josh Berry, who had such a great run last weekend, and Noah Gregson. As we check in with Kim Coon. Kimmy?
Well, despite having won this race in 2023, Tyler Reddick has finished 17th or worse in the last 3 races at Kansas. And as much as they'd like to win today, crew chief Billy Scott told me it is easier said than done. The whole field is evolving, and you cannot rely on the things that made you fast in the past. There was some uncertainty after practice yesterday for the 45 team, and Billy told me they had to make quite a few more changes overnight than they typically do on a weekend.
All right, let's jump back into start lineup. Row 8, Chris Buescher. Last year, lost this race by 1/1000th of a second. Row 9, Alex Bowman. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Alex Bowman run really well here in the past. A lot of top 10s. Row 10, Ryan Priest, AJ Allmendinger. Two guys needing a good run. Row 11 and row 12, Michael McDowell and SVG. After the green flag drops, they will have to serve a stop-and-go penalty for rules violations. Row 13, John Hunter Nemechek, Austin Cindric. Austin Cindric going to the rear. Row 14, Zane Smith. Got a lot of speed lady looking to finish the race off. Row 15, Kyle Busch, 2-time winner here. Dave.
Jeff, you mentioned Austin Cindric going to the rear. When I caught up with him today, he was in physio. Yes, doing those stretches that can help even a young guy like him, only 27, get to the end of a long, hot day here at the Kansas Speedway. He said his car was pretty good in practice. He called it versatile when we talked to him on the air, but then he grazed the wall in qualifying. They had to replace some suspension points and get that car back to its race shape. Remember, he starts today below the cut line, trying to get points for best a win.
Let's finish off the grid. Brought to you by Valvoline. Brad Keselowski, a 2-time winner here in Kansas, and Riley Herbst. Then on row 17, Ty Dillon, Cody Ware. And then we get back towards the back. At row 18, Joey Logano, JJ Yeley, and Ryan Blaney finishes out the field. Those 3 Penske Fords will all be at the back. Let's check in one more time before we see the green flag. Here's Marty.
Yeah, last week's winner will be in a backup car, as we mentioned in Countdown to Green, and he could be benefited by a change that Team Penske made in the offseason. The change was to bring cars as backup for every team during the playoffs. Also, cars that were pretty much complete as much as they could be by NASCAR rules. Also, another factor in that, this car has been a primary for Ryan Blaney earlier in the year. So, Lee, oftentimes during the year, the car will be a backup for several weeks. This one is a very good car for Ryan Blaney. We'll see what he can do with it from the back of the field this afternoon.
Yeah, how much progress can be made by not only him, but his 2 Team Penske teammates across this 267-lap race. Let's check in with Tyler Reddick, 2311, and a pre-race pep talk. Here it is.
Let's go out here and execute. Proud of everyone's hard work, the team effort. Let's give it our best, and hopefully have a shot at winning this race here. So proud of you guys.
A win sure would come in handy, considering where he and his teammate Bubba Wallace are in the playoff standings. They're up against it. Our Steve Letard has made it up from Countdown to Green. He's ready to go for this race. The 2025 Toyota Supra is pacing the field for today's race. First stage, 80 laps. Beautiful sunny day. It's warm. That's what I was going to say. First stage, 80 laps. First corner.
Here we go, I'm ready.
We've seen big moments right away.
I'm ready.
I have my eyes peeled right away to see what can happen. It's an event. It's part of the whole championship. It's in the midst of the playoffs. 30 races down, 6 races to go. This is the Hollywood Casino.
Green flag is out. Let's go race again.
Kansas Speedway!
Yeah.
Larson on the jump early. Briscoe leads them in. But look on the low line. That blue and white 5HenryCars.com Chevy for Kyle Larson, desperately searching for victory.
You can already see, even on the first lap, drivers running all over the racetrack, the bottom, the middle, the top. Look at Reddick and that 45 car flying in the 3rd lane.
3 wide with Elliott up high. In the middle is Hocevar and Christopher Bell down low. He's on the apron.
Reddick's good corner is going to help the 9 with a push down the straightaway. 3 wide, 2x2. Reddick, you see how he has to give up the entry. There are the cars you guys mentioned during the lineup that had to come to pit road. The 88 of SVG, the 71 of McDowell, a stop and go.
I mentioned when we were going through the starting grid, Carson Hocevar was the highest placed non-playoff driver. He's already moved his way up, hassling for that 4th position. Hamlin's got by Larson, and now Hamlin is pressuring his JGR teammate for the lead.
Denny Hamlin had a really good center, 3 and 4. Exited the corner with a lot of speed. This is where the pass is going to get difficult. Trying to get underneath somebody on the exit of these corners, it's just hard to carry as much speed as you can on the high side. Watch Denny Hamlin. He's going to run the middle of the racetrack now. Try to turn a little bit down the racetrack coming off the corner.
Jeff, you have to be careful. You and I have seen this. If you run a groove lower like Denny Hamlin, he'll do it again right here. Everything's great, but somewhere at corner exit, you have to blend in that weight on the 19, and it seems very late off the corner off turn 2, but off turn 4, cars have spun out that far around the corner.
Look at the speed that the 11 has on corner entry. He really is able to make ground on Briscoe. Briscoe's running a steady line, running that 3/4 of the way up the racetrack.
Toyota onboard gives us a couple of Toyotas battling at the front. Briscoe felt confident. Last weekend in New Hampshire, when he was buried in the pack and crew chief James Small made that 2-tire call that dragged him up towards the front, was a pivotal moment. That gave the team a big morale boost as his teammate gets ever so close to his rear there.
He almost got to that left rear quarter panel. That's what you're trying to do. You get to the left rear quarter panel. That actually slows the car on the outside down. He just couldn't quite get there, Steve.
Yeah, the bottom dominant in one, or excuse me, the top is dominant in 1 and 2. 3 and 4, it seems like there's that middle lane. You mentioned that left rear is slowing down the lead car. We've also seen that it tightens the car up. Oh, here we go. Now Briscoe is giving the top lane to the 11. I think he had to do that. He thought he lost ground a lap ago. Now the 11's going to have momentum.
Yeah, this has brought Larson into the fight as well.
Denny Hamlin, who has been in the headlines this week, more so than normal because of the confrontation with his teammate Ty Gibbs last week in New Hampshire. Controversial moment, a lot of heated words, and there was a behind closed doors meeting at JGR headquarters.
I think a big part of that frustration, to be quite honest, is that they are running 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Yeah.
I just think that this is what Joe Gibbs Racing expects, to run to the front. And I actually think the drivers understand how to race each other at the front. I think the whole point of frustration out of the 11, Marty, was that he was racing Ty Gibbs outside the top 10 last week.
Yeah, and that certainly was a factor in his team, no question. Denny Hamlin has 4 Kansas wins, more than anyone here. But he told me earlier this week, honestly, as Kyle Larson looks to grab second there, he said we should have had more wins.